Okay, so we are reading Ikigai. We are on chapter 9, page 177.
Chapter 111 of the PDF.
Page 111 of the PDF.
Step 2. Bet conservatively in certain areas and take many small risks in others. The world of finance turns out to be very useful in explaining this concept. If you have $10,000 saved up, you might put 9,000 of that into an index fund or fixed term deposit and invest the remaining 1,000 in 10 startups with huge growth potential, say $100 each.
So that means, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
One possible scenario is that 3 of the companies fail. You lose $300. The value of 3 other companies goes down. You lose another 100 or $200. The value of 3 goes up. You make 100 or 200. And the value of one of the startups increases 20-fold. You make nearly $2,000 and maybe even more. You still make money even 3 of the businesses go completely belly up. You've benefited from the damage just like the Hydra. The key to becoming anti-fragile is taking on small risks that might lead to great reward without exposing ourselves to dangers that might sink us, such as investing $10,000 in a fund of questionable reputation that we saw advertised in the newspaper.
So that means, countering your risks, keeping your basic capital in something which is secure, and then taking a risk of a smaller amount, and then also not putting all the eggs in one basket. So again, you see, when you do that, when you have security around you, you also reduce your stress. And when your stress goes down, automatically you become more healthy.
Step 3. Get rid of the things that make you fragile. We are taking the negative route for this exercise. Ask yourself, what makes me fragile? Certain people, things, and habits generate losses for us and make us vulnerable. Who and what are they?
So
When we
again,
make
if you really see, there are certain things in your life which trigger you, and the more awareness you can bring to the facts or things that trigger you, and then work on them and eliminate them, then automatically things start to improve. So I think I've shared this story before. There was this trucking company and they wanted to figure out how to reduce accidents. So they did this study and they found that 1% of or 2% of all the drivers that were there caused 90 to 95% of the accidents. So what did they do? They attempted to reallocate the 2% of the drivers, and naturally their accident rate must have fallen by about 80%. So in the same way over here, the stuff which makes us fragile, the stuff that makes us lose it, if we can start monitoring that, then automatically we become more resilient.
When we make our New Year's resolutions, we tend to emphasize adding new challenges to our lives. It's great to have this kind of objective, but setting good riddance goals can have an even bigger impact.
So
For example,
instead of adding something to what we want to do, if we can really start focusing on what is pulling us down or what is keeping us on the left side of the grid, I think that will give us more benefits than adding something new to do or creating a new challenge in our lives.
stop snacking between meals. Eat sweets only once a week. Gradually pay off all debt. Avoid spending time with toxic people simply because we feel spend no more than 20 minutes.
We are losing you, Shimangla. Shimangla, come here only.
When we make our New Year's resolutions, we tend to emphasize adding new challenges to our lives. It's great to have this kind of objective, but setting good riddance goals can have an even bigger impact. For example, stop snacking between meals. Eat sweets only once a week. Gradually pay off all debt. Avoid spending time with toxic people. Avoid spending time doing things we don't enjoy simply because we feel obligated to do them. Spend no more than 20 minutes on Facebook per day.
So if you really see, all these things basically are putting you on the left side of the grid. If you're snacking between meals, it's putting you on the left side of the grid because you know there's a guilt. Eating sweets, one, that's a good resolution. Paying off all debt. Any debt will always put you on the left side of the grid because debt never stops working. Whether you are sleeping, whether you're eating, whether you're drinking, whether you're working, debt, because the interest meter is constantly running, we need to get rid of all our debt. That's a given. Spending time with toxic people, people who are depleting you, will automatically put you on the left side of the grid. Spending time doing things we don't enjoy, but we are feeling obligated to do them, all automatically again is putting us in the left side of the grid. Facebook and all these things which are taking up our time without becoming productive or being growth oriented for us, again automatically put us on the left side of the grid.
To build resilience into our lives, we shouldn't fear adversity because each setback is an opportunity for growth. If we adopt an anti-fragile attitude, we'll find a way to get stronger with every blow, refining our lifestyle and staying focused on our ikigai.
So again, every time there's a setback, there is always an opportunity in that setback. The point is how you're looking at it and the perspective that you're taking about it. The moment you shift your perspective about something, the thing which is looking as the worst thing that could happen to you can turn out to be the best thing that happens to you.
Taking a hit or two can be viewed as either a misfortune or an experience that we can apply to all areas of our lives as we continually make corrections and set new and better goals. As Taleb writes in Anti-Fragile, we need randomness, misadventures, uncertainty, self-discovery, here traumatic episodes, all these things that make life worth living.
So again, when we are doing new things, that is when new synaptic connections are created. There is growth. You'll find that most advances in all technology, all knowledge basically take place when there is war. So if you see, technological developments develop out of adversity. So if we have a little bit of a challenge in our lives, we automatically start performing better.
We encourage those interested in the concept of anti-fragility to read Nicholas Taleb's Anti-Fragile. Life is pure imperfection, as the philosophy of Wabi Sabi teaches us, and the passage of time shows us that everything is fleeting. But if you have a clear sense of your ikigai, each moment will hold so many possibilities that it will seem almost like an eternity.
So again, everything is always moving. There is always a rhythm to everything. If you can engage the rhythm, then you will find possibilities in every and each thing that is happening.
Epilogue, Ikigai, the Art of Living. Mitsuo Aida was one of the most important calligraphers and haikuists of 20th century. He is yet another example of a Japanese person who dedicated his life to a very specific ikigai, communicating emotions with 17-syllable poems using a shodo calligraphy brush. Many of Aida's haikus philosophize about the importance of the present moment and the passage of time. The poem reproduced below could be translated as, "In the here and now, the only thing in my life is your life."
So again, you're totally committed to what is happening in the moment.
In another poem, Aida writes simply, Here, now. It is an artwork that seeks to evoke feelings of mono, no, aware, a melancholy appreciation of the ephemeral. The following poem touches on one of the secrets of bringing Ikigai into our lives. Happiness is always determined by your heart.
So happiness is always determined by the feelings that you have of a particular given situation.
This last one, also by Aida, means keep going, don't change your path.
So again, the more persistent you are. So like when you found your Ikigai, the more persistent you become about it, the better it is for you. Okay, and tenacity is a very important part of Ikigai, because if you're not tenacious about what you're doing, you'll keep jumping from one thing to the other and you'll never be able to really become a master of anything. So if you see that lady, the whole time she was only selecting those brushes, and she became so good at it that she became so fast that you couldn't even capture it on film. You had to use a very, very fast focus film to camera to do it. In that way, the more you can be tenacious about what you're doing, the better you will become at it.
Once you discover your Ikigai, pursuing it and nurturing it every day will bring meaning to your life. The moment your life has this purpose, you will achieve a happy state of flow in all you do, like the calligrapher at his canvas or the chef who, after half a century, still prepares sushi for his patrons with love.
So the moment your life has this purpose, you will achieve a state of a happy state of flow in all that you do, because one thing will lead to the other. So the more focused and in the moment you can become, the more you jack into the flow, automatically you become happier.
Conclusion. Our Ikigai is different for all of us, but one thing we have in common is that we are all searching for meaning. When we spend our days feeling connected to what is meaningful to us, we live more fully. When we lose the connection, we feel despair.
So again, the common is that we are all searching for meaning. All of us are looking for why are we here? What is the meaning of life? What is it that I need to do over here? Because when we don't find that, we don't find meaning in what we are doing, then we are living for nothing. Life becomes empty. So finding meaning, finding our ikigai becomes an extremely important pursuit in our lives.
Modern life estranges us more and more from our true nature, making it very easy for us to lead lives lacking in meaning. Powerful forces and incentives, money, power, attention, success, distract us on a daily basis. Don't let them take over your life.
So again, in olden times, they did not have so many distractions. Today, you've got internet, you've got the phone in your hand, you've got your computer, you've got Netflix, you've got Amazon Prime, you've got the movie halls, you've got the phone call. Every time you're getting phone calls, so we constantly are getting distracted from what our actual purpose is. So becoming aware of what your actual purpose is and then persisting on doing and following that actual purpose becomes very, very important.
Our intuition and curiosity are very powerful internal compasses to help us connect with our ikigai. Follow those things you enjoy and get away from or change those you dislike.
So this becomes important. Our intuition and curiosity. So what are we curious about? What is popping up in our lives? Again, the four S's come up here. What is automatically popping up? So swata, when something pops up, we need to become curious about it. We need to allow our intuition, the way in from zero limits. Okay, instead of operating from memory, we need to start operating from inspiration. So that also becomes very important, that what is it that we need to do right now? What is the most important thing that I need to do rather than the urgent thing that I need to do? Then automatically the stuff that you enjoy is putting you on the right side of the grid. The stuff that you don't enjoy is automatically putting you on the left side of the grid. So whenever anything is putting you on the left side of the grid, ultimately you need to start dropping it, because no manifestation will take place in the left side of the grid. Manifestation only takes place from the right side of the grid. This is something that we need to really understand. And anything that puts us on the left side, we need to drop like a hot potato.
Be led by your curiosity and keep busy by doing things that fill you with meaning and happiness. It doesn't need to be a big thing. We might find meaning in being good parents or in helping our neighbors.
So again, keywords over here: fills you with meaning and happiness. So anything that is uplifting is making you happy. Again, right side of the grid. Anything that holds meaning for you, again, puts you on the right side of the grid. So if we can start focusing, where are we operating from on a day to day, on an hour to hour basis, we can understand where we are, either we are being depleted or we are being uplifted.
There is no perfect strategy to connecting with our Ikigai. But what we learn from the Okinawans is that we should not worry too much about finding it.
So again, if we are worried about finding it, we are on the left side of the grid. Plus, it is not spontaneous. Okay, so again, the four S's, the first S is violated. So swata, it needs to come automatically into your life. We have to trust the intelligence of the universal consciousness to bring into our life what is most important in our life.
Just remember to have something that keeps you busy doing what you love while being surrounded by the people who love you.
So over here it says life is not a problem to be solved. You missed that. So life is not a problem to be solved. Life is an experience to be experienced for the experience.
The 10 rules of Ikigai. We'll conclude this journey with 10 rules we've distilled from the wisdom of long-living residents of Ojimi. Stay active. Don't retire. Those who give up the things they love doing and do well lose their purpose in life. That's why it's so important to keep doing things of value, making progress, bringing beauty or utility to others, helping out, and shaping the world around you even after your official professional activity has ended.
So the moment you are jacked into your ikigai, you never retire. You can keep doing it till you die, till you step out of this body for your ultimate OBE. You can keep doing it. And the moment, many times people really just die when they retire, because now they don't know what next to do, because the whole life they've just done that one thing and then they don't know. So that's why it's also important to cultivate other hobbies, etc., where if something happens to one thing, you can focus your attention on the next thing. So it becomes important to really, have multiple ikigais, not having only one ikigai.
2. Take it slow. Being in a hurry is inversely proportional to quality of life. As the old saying goes, walk slowly and you'll go far. When we leave urgency behind, life and time take on new meaning.
So again, if we are in a hurry, we are constantly getting agitated and filled with anxiety. We are on the left side of the grid. If I am relaxed, if I'm calmly doing what needs to be done, I'm not getting agitated, then I'm on the right side of the grid.
3. Don't fill your stomach. Less is more when it comes to eating for long life too. According to the 80% rule, in order to stay healthier longer, we should eat a little less than our hunger demands instead of stuffing ourselves.
So this is very clear, the 80% rule. Don't overeat. Because ultimately, see, if you overeat, you're going to land up, your system has to digest that extra food for which we are not going to be actually using it. So then that becomes stored as fat. So the idea is that if you're just eating enough, that is more than enough.
4. Surround yourself with good friends. Friends are the best medicine. They are there for confiding worries over a good chat, sharing stories that brighten your day, getting advice, having fun, dreaming. In other words, living.
So again, friends, people who are of the same wavelength become important. If you are hanging around with people who are not in the same wavelength as you, then communication will again become a problem. So having people who are with you, like we formed a community here, right? We are talking to each other, we are working with each other. Naturally, in COVID times, this is there. But again, physical proximity also is important ultimately.
5. Get in shape for your next birthday. Water moves. It is at its best when it flows fresh and doesn't stagnate. The body you move through life in life. Sorry. The body you move through life in needs a bit of daily maintenance to keep it running for a long time. Plus, exercise releases hormones that make us feel happy.
So again, keep moving. Basically, the movement, whenever there's movement, it makes the endorphins also release in our body system.
6. Smile. A cheerful attitude is not only relaxing, it also helps make friends. It's good to recognize the things that aren't so great, but we should never forget what a privilege it is to be in the here and now in a world so full of possibilities.
So again, smiling doesn't really cost money. If you can keep smiling, you'll find that people will smile back at you. And automatically, when you smile, you release chemicals which are putting you on the right side of the grid. So the more you smile, the better it is for you.
7. Reconnect with nature. Though most people live in cities these days, human beings are made to be part of the natural world. We should return to it often to recharge our batteries.
So making connections with nature as much as possible.
8. Give thanks to your ancestors, to nature, which provides you with the air you breathe and the food you eat, to your friends and family, to everything that brightens your day and makes you feel lucky to be alive. Spend a moment every day giving thanks, and you'll watch your stockpile of happiness grow.
So again, attitude of gratitude. We all have so much to be grateful for. We've got 2 eyes to see, 2 ears to hear, a tongue to be able to taste, nose to breathe, hands we've got. We are sitting on a chair, we've got a computer, we've got electricity, we've got food on our table, we've got good friends. We've got so much to be grateful for. But what is it that we are all, most of the time we are cribbing about what we don't have. So if we can shift our attitude to what we have and be grateful for it, automatically we put ourselves in the right side of the grid.
9. Live in the moment. Stop regretting the past and fearing the future. Today is all you have. Make the most of it. Make it worth remembering.
So again, being in the present, your past is based on your present and your future is based on your past. So if you can make your past good, automatically, I mean your present good, the present moment good, then automatically your past is good. And since your future is based on the past, your future also becomes good. So make it worth remembering. Make the present moment worth remembering. So focus your attention in the present.
10. Follow your ikigai. There is a passion inside you, a unique talent that gives meaning to your days and drives you to share the best of yourself until the very end. If you don't know what your ikigai is yet, as Viktor Frankl says, your mission is to discover it.
Okay, so again, finding your ikigai, what actually drives you. So again, the 4 steps, what makes you happy or what you would like to do. Well, if are you good at doing it? Is it something that the world needs, and can you be paid for it? If all 4 of these come together, then you get power. Okay, so the authors of this book wish you a very happy and long and purposeful life. Okay, so I think we finished the book. Anything anyone wants to say about the book? Anything anyone wants to say about the book? You all can unmute.
I wanted to know what the 4 S's were. We
Okay, the
keep
4
talking
S's were, the first one is Swata, that is by itself. By
Yes.
itself. The second S is Sahaj, that means easy for you to do.
Yes.
The third
Yes.
S is Shresh, that is for the highest good.
Yes.
And the fourth is Swikar, that means you accept.
Thank you. Thank you, Nitish.
Anyone, anything else?
Yeah, I think the book was amazing. It was so simply written, and
Yeah,
it just covered up everything.
yeah, it was a very,
You
it's a
know,
very nice book.
very, very beautifully.
Yeah.
Simply, it was good.
Okay. So if there's nothing else with the book, then I'll shut this.